Hello, and welcome to page 5 of the Preliminary B Piano Workbook from the K-Music and Design Workbook series. Make sure to check out the previous Preliminary A Piano Workbook playlist to help you with the Preliminary B video. If you would like to follow along in your very own Preliminary A or Preliminary B workbook, make sure to head over to my website for more information. On this page, page number 5, with the song Three-Feathered Turkey, we will be learning how to count using a time signature. Time signatures are found on the left side of the beginning of the song in the treble clef staff and the bass clef staff. In previous videos, we were counting using a 4/4 time signature, where the top number equaled how many counts we would find inside of a bar, also called a measure. This number is 4. And for this song, Three-Feathered Turkey, the top number of our time signature is a 3. So we need to change this to a 3. Now, the highest number in our bar will be a 3. This bottom 4 represents a quarter note. When the 4 is on the bottom, each quarter note represents 1 count. Let's get started on bar number 1. We know from the previous videos that our quarter note is worth 1 count. This is the first quarter note in the bar or measure. We need to start with count number 1 and count up to count 3, our highest number for this song. Moving to our second note, also a quarter note worth 1 count, we need to give this note 1 number. We've already used the 1 from the previous note, so next in line is count number 2. Moving along to the last note in our bar or measure, a quarter note worth 1 count. We need to use 1 number to count this note. We've already used count 1, we've used count 2, so that means next up is count 3. Great. Moving on to bar number 2. All of our bars are separated by a bar line. This tells us that our counting can start over at count number 1. For our first count, we have a quarter note, only needing 1 number. That number is number 1. Moving on to our next note, another quarter note, only needing 1 number. We've already used number 1, so let's keep going in our pattern of 1, 2, 3. Count number 2. Finishing off our bar or measure, we have another quarter note, needing 1 count. We've used count 1, we've used count 2. Next up, we have count number 3. Excellent. This time, our right hand treble clef has a rest. In this bar, we will be switching to playing with our left hand, starting over after our bar line with count number 1. In this example, our left hand counting is on the bottom. Although, for this video and most of my other videos, I will be adding the counting to the middle area of our grand staff. Taking a look, our first note is a half note, so we need 2 counts. We already have count number 1. That means we need another count. What do you think the next count is after count number 1? Great. Count number 2. Let's check. Does our half note have 2 counts before we move on to our next note? 1, 2. Yes, it does. Great. Going on to our last note of this bar. A quarter note worth 1 count. We have count number 1, we have count number 2, but we need count number 3. Great. Let's move along to line number 2. We will be playing in our left hand for count number 1. Our half note needs 2 counts. Count number 1 and count number 2. The quarter note needs only 1 count. We have 1, we have 2. Number 3 is next. Here we go at bar number 5, starting again with our counting and count number 1 after that bar line. We have a quarter note worth 1 count. Another quarter note worth 1 count, and it has that count, count number 2. Our last note for this bar is a quarter note, needing 1 count. We have 1, we have 2, we need 3. Next, bar number 6. We start over after that bar line with count number 1. Our half note needs 2 counts. We have 1, we need 2. And our quarter note here needs 1 count, and it's correct with count number 3. Because we have 1, we have 2. To continue in this order, we needed 3. Bar number 7. Quarter note needing 1 count, and we started over from our bar line. We have count number 1. The half note needing 2 counts. We have 1, we have 2, we need 3. Bar 8 starts with a half note needing 2 counts. We have 1, we need 2. This quarter note needing 1 count. We have 1, we have 2, we need 3. And the highest number when we have a 3/4 time signature is the number 3. Great, let's speed up a little bit. If you would like to pause the video and write in your answers for the counting for the rest of the song, do so now. Here we go, adding in our counting. We start over with count number 1. Our half note needs 2 counts, 1, 2. Quarter note only needs 1 count. We have 1, 2, 3. Starting over from the bar line, count number 1, quarter note, count number 2, quarter note, count number 3, quarter note. Bar 11, 2 counts for a half note, 1, 2, 1 count for a quarter note, count number 3. Bar 12, 2 counts for our half note, 1, 2, 1 count for our quarter note, 3. Bar 13, 1 count for each of our quarter notes, counting up to 3. 1, 2, 3. Starting over with count number 1, our quarter note needs 1 count, 1 count, count number 2, and our last count number 3, 1 count for the quarter note. Finishing off the last 2 bars, bar 15 and bar 16 for the 3 feathered turkey song. We start with a quarter note worth 1 count. Our half note needs 2 counts, count number 2 and count number 3, following that pattern of 1, 2, 3. Bar 16. All quarter notes are 1 count, each needing a number, 1, 2, 3. Great. Let's go back to the top and try playing from start to finish. Before we continue, I will quickly write in the note names for the treble clef and the bass clef. You are more than welcome to write them in your workbook B as well. In right hand, we start off with an F, 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 jump up to C, C, C. Left hand F, F, C, C, treble clef F, F, C, A, F, F, A, middle C, left hand F, F, bass clef F, G, A, middle C, A, bass clef F, 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 lots of Fs, A, middle C. The last line, all treble clefs, starting with the F, A, C, C, F. Let's quickly take a look at this new symbol that we noticed in the middle and the end of the 3 feathered turkey song. This is a repeat sign. Anytime we see the dots on the left side of these thick and thin lines, we need to go back to find the opposite, which is right here. This one's split in two. This one, our dots are on the right side of the thick and the thin line. So that's where we go back to note number F when we hit the end of the song. There is a repeat in the middle of the song, when the dots are on the left side of our little and thick line. This means we need to find where the other repeat sign is, with the two dots on the right side of our thick and thin line. In this case, there are no other repeat signs, so we go back to the beginning of the song. We repeat each spot one time unless otherwise written. Great, let's start at speed 60 and then finishing on speed 100. I will only be saying the counts, numbers 1, 2, and 3. Follow along with my fingers if you're not quite sure where the notes are on the piano. Here we go, starting at speed 60 from the beginning with the repeats, and I'll let you know where they go. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Back to the top. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to the middle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Great. Let's go back to the top and try out speed 100. And make sure to try it out on your own, increasing the speed slowly from speed 60, 65, 70, and so on, until you feel comfortable to play at speed 100 with the video. Here we go, speed 100. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. If you would like more practice, make sure to pick your own speed for the metronome and try it out, increasing your speed slowly. Try challenging yourself and memorizing as many notes as you can to help you practice with the metronome. Well done! You've now completed page 5 of the Preliminary B Piano Workbook. Make sure to like and subscribe for more musical videos. Happy learning!